Hello and welcome back to Shelf Centered. This is Bryce, and I got to talk about my reading for the month of November. Now, November was a month where I participated in the Once Upon a Readathon. I'll be honest, I kind of was like, I have such a TBR for the year, and I'm not getting to it, and I I kind of reluctantly agreed to it at first, and this is a readathon that was led and held by Hannah along with so many other booktubers. But Hannah's just such a good person, such a great booktuber that I had to say yes, and I'm so glad I did because I had a blast just participating, having fun, communicating with people, and just seeing where we're at, and just kind of essentially having fun fitting a lot of things into the prompts for the readathon. So having said all that, I wanted to talk about it because I had a wonderful month. Would not have had, I don't think, this good of a month had I not been participating in the readathon and me being very competitive, clearly. I really outdid myself. I read 11 books. Now, I have to admit, I did read a number of books that were based, that were small, that I was kind of aiming on being small so I could fit them in and make sure that I hit all the prompts. But I'm happy to say, I'm proud to say that I made it, I did it, I hit every single possible reading prompt that I could, and so we'll go over that right now. All right, the first prompt was researching the tree. So this actually, and how this could go is you had to complete at least one book for each kind of step along the way, but then you could go back and kind of complete the rest. So that's kind of how I did it, and that's why the things are going to go this way. You'll see. So there were a couple things. So you had to be a book with royalty. It could be a fairy tale retelling. These are two different steps. Two different prongs in the step. And then include once upon a or time, any of those words in the title, and then hard mode was just including two of those words. So the first book I picked up was Fairy Tale by Stephen King. This bad boy right there, that was my biggest, thickest boy for the month, and I loved it. Absolutely, I already did a review. You can see that on the channel. I'll link it below. Also for this was actually my 10th read, so this is where I had to go back, but of the 11 reads, this prompt got number 1 and number 10, which was Once Upon a Time in the North. It's a His Dark Materials prequel. It was actually really good. I'm kind of up and down with His Dark Materials. Liked certain parts, didn't love other parts, but Once Upon a Time in the North really nailed it. And as you can tell, that got me my Once Upon a Time, all 4 of them. It was like extremely hard mode. That's how I do things. I don't just do hard mode. Actually, you'll see I barely got a couple of these. But then the royalty and retelling were in the Fairy Tale. Both of those were covered by Fairy Tale by Stephen King. All right, then we had Find the Map. Find the Map had to do with a book with a map you could read. Recently acquired book. Then a book that contained the colors on the cover of red, orange, yellow, or brown. And then hard mode was 2 of those colors. So books I read for that were actually a couple. I think I overdid it. I read too many books, but anyway. Like I said, I focused this. So you got obviously red, some yellows, some browns in there. Couple, we did hard mode on this one, got lots of colors there. Then I also got my book with the map, Attack on Titan. So there's just one of those. The whole series is filled with maps trying to show you where the Titans are kind of getting into these places. And then also read The Last Conversation by Paul Tremblay, and it's funny because it's almost like one or two of these like really didn't need to happen. But we got our book with the map. We got Recently Acquired. We're actually every single one of these were all recently acquired, so they all hit that. And then books with red, orange, yellow, or brown. And hard mode, because again, we got extra hard mode, lots of different colors. One Punch Man and Attack on Titan were my numbers 2 and 3 respectively for the month. And then the last conversation was number 4. So I actually kind of did that one all together, hit that one out of the park right away. All right, then Gather Companions. Gather Companions had, you had to read a book with some romance. Book with family was the second one, a new author, and then the hard mode would be a debut author. All right, and then so what I did was for my fifth book, Ilmet in Lankmar by Fritz Leiber or Lieber, however you pronounce his name. That was my 5th book of the month. There was a romance. These guys do kind of everything for their ladies. What's more romantic than that? Family, kind of a found family because they kind of find family. So I'm using that. I could use the next one for some family too. So I cover it. Okay, relax. And for everything else. And then a new author and a new to me author. This would be The Legend of Blackjack by A.R. Witham. Excellent book. Actually has family too, has romance. I could have just done this book and it would have covered everything in the step, but I go overboard because I didn't have a great plan. Well, part of this is that you just don't know until you read, right? And so you're kind of like, I'm guessing this has it, but anyway. Excellently done. Great self-published book, highly recommended. But The Legend of Blackjack, I literally finished the last day of the month. So I just barely snuck it in. I had to push for that one the last like 5 days. So that was book number 11. Then the next step is The Quest for the Tree. We had a book with magic. Number 2 would be a historical setting. The third prong is over 300 pages, and then the hard mode is over 450 pages. So I actually hit that with a couple, but Good Omens is what I read for magic. There's definitely magic going on in that one. Witches, prophecies, all that. And then Gates of Fire was my kind of hitting everything else. Historical setting. Actually, I think Good Omens is over 450 pages too. It might at least just be 300, but this one hit my my page count and historical setting, so we are good there. That was a good one. It wasn't as like I was expecting. This is just 300 pretty much. It is a historical book, not a fantasy book, which is why it didn't hit my magic. Although it does discuss the Persians had some magics and whatnot. Anyway. But it was still good, still really good. I thought I would like it more, but I liked it, just not more. Good Omens was my number 6 read, and then Gates of Fire was my number 7. All right, Climbing the Tree. This is the last step in the readathon. Number 1, a book with a conflict. Number 2 is a pull pick. Number 3 is an unlikable or morally gray character, and then the hard mode is a villain is the main character. So this was one that I've been meaning to read this for a while, and this is I think it technically works. It's hard because if your main character is a villain, also your protagonist, right? So anyway, I did All Systems Red, number 1 in the Murderbot Diaries. Essentially, it's a murder bot. Like, he calls himself a murder bot, like, because that's what he's murdered lots of human beings, and he's a bad guy, right? He's a pariah. He's with these guys. Ends, I can't spoil it, but anyway, you can imagine if he's someone you're following, that you at least like him to some degree, or you don't if you don't like the book at all. But anyway, conflict. I think I can add conflict to any of these. Definitely conflict. Unlikable, morally gray character, absolutely. And then the main character being a villain. So hit 3 of those, and then a poll pick. I actually ran a poll pick of Breach of Peace by Daniel Green versus Snapshot by Brandon Sanderson, and Breach of Peace won. All Systems Red was my number 8 read for the year, or for the month, and Breach of Peace was number 9. So that was really handy with that poll there. That's really it. So that was it for the month. I also was able to do, I was going to do the extra challenges during the month. So I got all the points I possibly could. And so hopefully they got counted. Hopefully I didn't repeat any. I apologize if I did. I couldn't remember which books I had put into the forms. So anyway, apologies, Hannah, if I did that wrong. But anyway, it was a really fun month. I cannot thank Hannah Blackwell enough for just running. The work that she did on this was incredible. And I just think it was such a great success. It was for me, and it was for everyone that I've talked to. Can't thank everyone who participated in that and just that had some fun geeking out about some, fairy tale retellings, and just, anything that fit the prompts, which were way beyond that scope, which I very much appreciated. So, but it did completely wreck my TBR for the year, and I blame Hannah completely, okay? So thank you so much for stopping by as usual. Please leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and we will catch you later. Bye.